Venezuela fue el mayor exportador de petróleo del mundo.
Oil, Venezuelan oil. We would have taken it up.
So we have the greatest oil companies in the world.
They took all of our
Weapons of mass destruction.
Saddam Hussein and his sons must leave Iraq within 48 hours.
Lo que me diga Macron que resbala. Macron es un pelele de la política de Trump contra Venezuela. Macron es un sicario de los intereses de la oligarquía financiera.
The first clash arisen between Venezuela and the US at the time of 1902 and 1903, when the Venezuelan state came under the debt and loan of the Europe, such as Germany, Italy, and Britain, where at that time the United States of America took the place of arbitrator, and as an arbitrator, the United States take the rule in these conflicts and tried to convince both the parties, both the countries, both the nations to come in peaceful dialogues rather than conflicts. After that, the first conflict arisen between United States of America and Venezuela. It was the conflict of the ideology, where the Venezuela promoted their socialism and having had the good relations with Iran, Russia, China, and Cuba at the era of Fidel Castro. Which now the first major conflict took place between Venezuela and the United States of America at the time of 1999, where the Hugo Chavez was the president of the Venezuela and Bill Clinton was the president of the United States of America. After that, Hugo Chavez introduced the Bolivarian Revolution. In this Bolivarian Revolution, it was totally against the interest of the United States of America, because in this revolution, Hugo Chavez promoted the socialism and had the good relations with Iran, China, Russia, and Cuba at the era of Fidel Castro, which is totally against the policy of the United States of America. After that, it took the serious pace.
Chavez adopted socialism and opposed U.S. capitalism. He openly criticized U.S. global dominance and imperialism.
At that pace, Hugo Chavez promoted the unity of the Latin American countries, which went against the interest of the United States, but also he talked about the unity of the Latin American countries and also criticized the dominance of the United States of America around the world.
He openly criticized U.S. global dominance and imperialism, promoted anti-U.S. foreign policy and Latin American unity. Chavez nationalized Venezuela's oil industry, reduced control of U.S. oil companies over PDVSA, oil revenues redirected to social welfare programs, not foreign investors.
In that revolution, the Hugo Chavez nationalized the oil companies of the Venezuela and reduced the control of the oil companies of the United States of America over Venezuelan oil reserves, and also stood against and criticized the imperialism and economic dominance of U.S. Over the world, which went totally against the economic interest of the United States of America. After that, total interest again went against the United States of America. Then the USA took a step off the cup in 2002 against the Hugo Chavez, where the Hugo Chavez was dispersed from his presidential control, from his presidential power, and Hugo Chavez totally claimed that the US helped the cup the military actions against Hugo Chavez.
Ese día, con irreverencia, con revire democrático.
So the US officially denied that statement and said we have no relation with CUP with military actions of the Venezuela against the Hugo Chavez. After that, a short period, Hugo Chavez became in control and also having started the extreme rage statements against each other.
This directly hurt U.S. economic interests. Chavez aligned Venezuela with Cuba, Fidel Castro, Russia, China, Iran. This challenged U.S. influence in Latin America. Keycap for escalation of conflict. 2002 coup attempt. A coup briefly removed Chavez from power. Chavez accused the U.S. of supporting the coup. Though the U.S. denied it, trust was permanently damaged.
After becoming in power, the Hugo Chavez succeeded at the time of 2013, Nicolás Maduro. When Nicolás Maduro came in a presidential power, he...
Everywhere, socialism or communism produced suffering, corruption, and...
Nicolás Maduro came in a presidential power, he also took the steps against the United States of America, which is totally against the economical, ideological, and the foreign policies of the US. So the USA clash arisen mainly at the age of 2019 when the US imposed the sanctions against the Nicolás Maduro and claimed that Nicolás Maduro is included in drug trafficking and criminal conspiracies and other wrongful acts which is unreasonable for the international law. Even peak of conflict went to that level that Nicolás Maduro was rejected as a president of the Venezuela, and the US recognized the opposition leader against Nicolás Maduro that he is the president of the Venezuela. So it went too deeply and too extremely against each other, and Nicolás Maduro claimed that US is interrupting even in the political affairs of the Venezuela, even though the sanctions were proceeded and exceeded that none of the PDVSA company, oil company, will allowed to market or trade with the United States of America trading market. And that relation went to that extreme level that the United States companies were not allowed to trade with Venezuelan oil companies, and limited the Venezuelan oil companies to their own borders, not letting them to trade in the United States of America. So these relations went in extreme mode. After that, in 2025 to 2026, even though the Nicolás Maduro was arrested in operation.
After returning to power, Chávez tightened control over state institutions. Chávez expelled US DEA agents, called US leaders imperialists, strengthened state control over oil. Diplomatic relations became hostile but not broken.
Nicolás Maduro has stood firm, cementing his reputation as indestructible. Around him, the world has changed.
After that peak of conflict, the United States of America went totally against the Venezuelan interest and imposed the sanctions and declared the opposition leaders of the political parties against Nicolás Maduro, and went and declared null and void the presidential power of the Nicolás Maduro.
After the death of Hugo Chávez in 2013, Nicolás Maduro became president of Venezuela. During his rule, the country's economy collapsed due to mismanagement, corruption, and falling oil prices.
America had put a price on his head, hell-bent on ousting this hero of the socialist revolution.
Donald Trump, hands up Venezuela. De inmediati.
As longtime president is out of power in a midnight operation called Absolute Resolve, the U.S. arrested Nicolás Maduro from the heart of Caracas.
And even though they promote and set the reward of $25 million over the arrest of Nicolás Maduro.
Tonight and early today, at my direction, conducted an extraordinary military operation to bring outlaw dictator Nicolás Maduro to justice.
Up to that level, they went against each other. And in 2025, even Trump ordered on the Happy New Year of 2026 to arrest Nicolás Maduro.
La victoria siempre. Patria querida, venceremos.
We are witnessing a human tragedy.
Bring back the transition government until the new election held in Venezuela, which up to that level their relations went wrong, and the US will never want Venezuela to adopt the rules of the Cuba as Fidel Castro did. So up to that level they went against each other. So it's up to you how you will take it in the upcoming days, what will happen. None of us, every analyst, every political analyst is totally confused at what will happen and what will be the conclusion of these conflicts.
Shortages of food and medicine increased, and the United States accused Maduro of election rigging, human rights abuses, and drug trafficking, which severely damaged relations. The conflict peaked in 2019 under President Nicolás Maduro and US President Donald Trump. The United States rejected Maduro's presidency.
La justicia venezolana te pondrá los ganchos, ladrón de cuatro suelas.